The lighthouse is not a tower but a womb, Book of Cain. A motif born in Rapture's drowned spire, carried through Columbia's floating altars, culminating in Persephone's iron cradle. Andrew Ryan's desk, Booker's steps, Sophia's throne, 3 stages of a single, ascending tragedy. What if Eleanor Lamb's ideology wasn't collectivist but objectivism's final, blood-stained mirror? Rapture's spire birthed a lie that might could sculpt paradise. Andrew Ryan's objectivity devoured itself, yet Eleanor didn't reject his creed, refined it. Where Ryan worshipped the self, she worshipped the *edited self. Persephone's cradle wasn't a new system but a scalpel, a world where only the *curated survive. Bioshock 1, Objectivism's ruin. Bioshock 2, its inverse, collectivism's rot, but Eleanor, she was the Hydra's third head. Sophia's big sisterhood was never her own, it was Ryan's shadow, sharpened. A utopia where artifice is virtue, and the knife that carves you also kills you. How many daughters were sculpted before the chisel turned? The tragedy wasn't 2 ideologies clashing, it was one folding inward. Ryan carved Rapture in 1946, stone by stone, law by law, no man for himself, no man against his sister. Eleanor Lamb's I am your sister was not collectivism, it was objectivism with the mask burned off. Sophia Tenenbaum built splicers to save her daughter. Eleanor built daughters to save the splicers. The big sisterhood did not reject Ryan's God. It completed his image. A strong man can't be a good man, Sophia once said. Eleanor proved the inverse. A strong idea devours even its prophets. The daughters wore white not for purity, but for the blank slate. No individuality, no self. Only the self as weapon, the self as currency in a transaction where the buyer and sold are the same. Rapture's fall was not a schism, it was a mirror cracking. Ryan's utopia demanded worship through absence of community, absence of weakness. Eleanor's demanded worship through presence. Her sisters were the altar, the chisel that sculpted them, the funeral pyre. When Sophia drowned in her own blood, Eleanor did not break from the past, she buried it deeper. The little sisters harvested Adam. Eleanor harvested souls, her big sisterhood was not a new faith. It was objectivism's final form, a single self, a single God, a single scream echoing through drowned halls. Who built the altar? The question is a lie, the architect was always there. Rapture's neon veins pulsed with synthetic promise. Plasmids hummed in glass vials, vigors coiled like serpents in the lungs of the ambitious. Andrew Ryan's utopia thrived not on freedom, but on transaction genetic power sold as self-actualization. Children learned to monetize their potential before they could swim, yet beneath the chrome, the first cracks bloomed. A splicer's howl echoed through the Arcadia district. A gene-spliced lung collapsed in a penthouse. The illusion of control was a plasmid with no cure. By 1958, the war began not with a bang, but a cough. A scientist's daughter, her body rejected by the atom that made her, became the first splicer to burn a family portrait. The streets ran red with the blood of the unworthy. Ryan's objectivism, once a creed of self-rule, now devoured its own. Vigors turned siblings into weapons, plasmids became poison. The little sisters, once Rapture's golden harvest, were left to rot in their own ichor. Who could blame them for screaming? Eleanor Lamb rose not from chaos, but from its arithmetic. She studied the war's equation splicers, multiplied in proportion to Ryan's lies. She wore Sophia's ideology like a tailored suit, but cut the lining. Where Sophia preached unity, Eleanor preached purity. Her big sisterhood was not collectivism, but a mirror. If men would worship the self, then she would become the self. She weaponized the very logic that drowned Rapture. To save the strong, she would erase the weak, permanently. The Civil War's final act was a pyre of ideals. Eleanor's ascent was not a rebellion, but a refinement. She understood what Ryan could not, that objectivism's God was not the self, but the editor of the self. She burned the libraries of failed experiments. She rebranded splicer DNA as genetic pollution. Her rule was not a new dawn, but a darker reflection. The same engine, now polished to a lethal sheen. What if Eleanor Lamb was not Rapture's antithesis, but its fulfillment, a utopia that outgrew its architect? The question is not who built the altar, but who was always waiting to inherit it. Eleanor Lamb did not choose her mother's knife, she chose the mirror it reflected. Sofia's cult was not a rejection of Objectivism, it was its final, feral iteration. The big sisterhood did not oppose Ryan's creed, it completed it. A child born in the shadow of Ayn Rand's godless utopia could not escape its logic, she could only sharpen it. The Civil War of 1958 did not begin with splicers screaming, it began with a question: who owns the product of the productive? Eleanor answered with razors. Where Ryan exiled the weak, she weaponized them. Where Sofia preached purity through pain, Eleanor refined the formula. The Little Sisters were not her innovation, they were the arithmetic. Atlas and Fontaine's rebellion was a symptom, not the disease. Splicers, those half-dead engineers of Rapture's underbelly, became both victims and executioners. Eleanor saw their suffering not as failure but proof of success. The strong did not need to rule. They needed to vanish leaving only the willing to enforce the hierarchy. Her sisters were not mothers, they were accountants in blood. Every little sister harvested a tithed lung, a rationed heartbeat. The ocean's darkness was not a refuge, but a ledger. Eleanor's objectivism had no room for men like Ryan, was a relic of compromise. She needed only the algorithm, pain as currency, loyalty as productivity. The fall of Rapture was not a collapse, it was a culling. Atlas uprising burned the city, but Eleanor's ideology had already calcified its bones. She did not inherit a failure, she proved its perfection. In the end, the splicers were not rebels. They were the final, screaming audit of a system that demanded everything. What remains when the utopia needs no architect? Eleanor Lamb's mirror still cracks, but the reflection it shows is not broken. It is fulfilled. Eleanor's sisterhood wasn't collectivism's chains. It was Objectivism's final theorem, Rapture's original sin, amplified. Bioshock 1, a corpse of unchecked self. Bioshock 2, the same corpse, rotting in reverse. Eleanor's mirror doesn't break the cycle, it completes it. A world where the strong don't just survive, they justify. What if Eleanor Lamb's ideology was the purest manifestation of Andrew Ryan's failed utopia? She did not chain Delta, she unmade her. Every choice was a script, every scream a rehearsal. Objectivism, the creed of self-made gods, became the scaffolding for a new cage. No splicers here, no atom, just a girl turned weapon, her will hollowed and refilled. Sofia's cult promised unity, Eleanor's promised transcendence. A lie wrapped in reason, the big sisterhood did not break free, it redefined freedom as obedience to the self. Rapture drowned in chaos, Eleanor's world drowns in silence. No riots, no kings, just daughters programming daughters, each one a mirror cracking under the weight of *y*. The cost. 1,000 deltas, their souls auctioned to the highest bidder, a child named Eleanor *. Ryan's audio logs whisper of men ruling men. Eleanor's legacy is women ruling women, same hunger, same hollow core, just different faces pressed against the glass. What kind of God needs clones to feel powerful? The answer is written in every empty gaze, every hand that harms without knowing why. Rapture's corpse was never the city. It was the idea, and Eleanor, she didn't bury it. She dressed it in white dresses and called it *progress*. Sofia's chains were forged in the name of unity. Eleanor's were sold as liberation. Delta's bond with the girl was never a relic of collectivism, it was a scalpel. A tool to carve Objectivism's corpse from the rot of its predecessor. The big sisterhood did not inherit Delta's womb, it weaponized it. Each white dress became a shroud for a philosophy that demanded sacrifice, not survival. Sofia built her cult on the lie that the many could be saved. Eleanor built hers on the lie that the few could be worthy. The little sisters were no longer to be protected, they were to be earned. A transaction, not a trust. The same transaction that turned Rapture's streets into graveyards. The same transaction that made Andrew Ryan kneel before a god he claimed to reject. What did Eleanor see in her mirror? Not Sofia's failure, her success. A system where every tear was a tax, every scream a symphony of merit. The splicers below gnawed at Rapture's bones, the sisterhood gnawed at its soul. Both proving the same truth, that Objectivism's paradise was never a city, it was a cage, and Eleanor. She did not merely live inside it, she became its iron, its bars, its unblinking eye. The descent was not accidental. It was arithmetic. Sofia's delta was a mother. Eleanor's delta was a ledger, every life harvested, a proof of concept. Every child in white, a monument to the dead who funded her sister's ascension. Rapture's madness was not its violence. It was the logic that birthed it, and Eleanor, she did not copy Rapture, she completed it. A final equation where the strong did not merely survive. They justified their survival. What remains when the mirror cracks, not a reflection. A requiem, for in Eleanor's utopia, even salvation is a transaction, and every transaction demands a corpse. Eleanor's journals in the Lambda resort do not plead for mercy. They dissect Ryan's creed with a surgeon's blade. Her big sisterhood is no collectivate, is objectivism refined through fire. Where Ryan worshipped self-interest, Eleanor weaponized it. She did not reject the transaction, she became it. A sisterhood where loyalty is leverage, where love is a contract with death as the penalty. The little sisters are not her pawns. They are her proof-living, screaming equations proving that survival demands sacrifice. Rapture's failure was not its plasmids or splicers. It was the arithmetic of its ideals. Eleanor understood. Ryan's utopia was a ledger with no room for the weak. She merely closed the columns. Her philosophy is Rapture's final entry. A city's shadow, sharper and hungrier. It is not Sofia's dream. It is the logical child of Andrew's. The resort's halls echo with a question. When the architect and the acolyte both crumble, what remains? Not a system, a scar. And in that scar, Eleanor's truth festers. Every utopia requires a grave. Every lighthouse casts a shadow. Rapture's beacon burned for Ryan's godless city. Columbia's for Comstock's chosen few. Eleanor's flickers through the big sisterhood, a creed not of unity, but of calculated sacrifice. Sofia's vox populi howled for the many. Eleanor's hymn sings for the curated few. Both demand devotion. Only one understands the arithmetic of utopia. The lighthouse's light bends. In Rapture it refracted through Atlas lie. No gods, no kings, just men. In Columbia, Daisy's dream, only the fit, only the pure. Eleanor's version, a ledger of worth. The sisterhood does not serve the people. It culls them, each child a calculation. Each bond a transaction. Objectivism's ghost wears a red dress here. Sofia's cult was chaos. Eleanor's is calculus. The vox shattered doors. The sisterhood locks them, then weeps at the sound of weeping. They call it love. It is the final ledger, a society where every heartbeat is permission, every life a pre-approved loan. No riot, no revolution, just a city of pre-screened souls. The lighthouse crumbles, the man dies, the city becomes a mausoleum. Eleanor's mirror does not distort, it clarifies. Andrew Ryan's utopia was never a city. It was a cage, and she its most elegant key. What dies when the last light fades? Not the dream, the arithmetic. And in the dark, the ledger keeps adding. Would you kindly? Eleanor Lamb's whisper fractures the dark, a mirror held to Andrew Ryan's shattered godhood. Her hierarchic altruism, this big sisterhood, was no rebellion against objectivism, it was its final, bleeding crescendo. Rapture sold freedom as a commodity. Eleanor traded it for a ledger of sacrificial arithmetic. Both cities thrived on the same delusion, that morality could be engineered, that love could be quantified. What did she carve from the bones of Sofia's dream? A sisterhood where obedience was the highest virtue, where protection was a blade polished by the calculus of the many. The little sisters were never hers to Sabbathy were the currency, the proof that even salvation could be a transaction. Would you kindly was not Ryan's sin alone. It was Eleanor's hymn, sung in the vaults where the dead still breathe in atom gas. The arithmetic adds. Rapture drowned in its own equations. Eleanor's splicers now wade through the wreckage, harvesting what's left of utopia's corpse. Her ideology was no inversion, no accident. It was the end point. A city where the ledger's final page was written in the blood of those who believed the numbers could ever balance. And in the dark, the sisters chant the same refrain. Would you kindly, the arithmetic never stops adding. What if Eleanor Lamb's big sisterhood was objectivism's final, bloodstained theorem? She didn't reject Ryan's math, she completed it. Where Rapture drowned in individualism, her sisters thrived through enforced unity, a mirror, cracked but precise. The same godless equation rearranged to serve the hive.